In the shadowy realm of the Charles Manson saga, a chilling truth emerges of the dozen of men who crossed paths with Manson who vanished. This isn't clickbait. This is reality. This took place around the confines of his specially designed single cell, located in the special unit located in California State Prison. And I'm going to tell you about it. I've been there many times. So I can tell you, even after you make it to the front door of the prison, the journey to Manson's realm just begins. It begins with a bus ride provided by the prison as visitors are driven deep into the belly of this colossal structure. The PHU, an acronym for the Protective Housing Unit, serves as Manson's home within these walls. However, he remains segregated from the general inmate population. He's concealed from their sight. In this story, my intent's not to fool you, because men actually disappeared from there, never to be seen again. When I would visit Manson, we would both have to sign this contract. And on it, it says, they don't respect the fact of hostages. Meaning, if Manson decided to take me for a hostage, they would just shoot us both. And they liked shooting people up there at one point. Corcoran Prison has earned a reputation over the years as one of the most deadliest and most treacherous correctional facilities in the United States. It wasn't just the inmates who feared for their lives within these confines, even the staff found themselves at risk. But shockingly, a federal investigation revealed that 13 guards at this prison were involved in criminal activities, perpetuating a climate of violence themselves. As a result, 8 of these guards face charges for their crimes and are now incarcerated, serving out their own sentences. Yeah, they used to send rival gangs into one facility to meet up with each other unsuspectingly. They would start fighting, and then the guards would shoot them. So let's take a look at this dark underbelly of Corcoran. This special unit, the men that were Manson's neighbors, were some of California's most evil people, like the Tree Frog Johnson, a monster who was given a sentence of over 200 years for his crimes. Yes, Tree Frog Johnson was Manson's neighbor. He was in this unit. If you don't know who he is, look him up. He's one despicable monster. Also in the unit with Manson was Herbert Mullin. Inside, he was known as just Herbie. He was convicted of killing 13 people. His victims included hikers, hitchhikers, and individuals he encountered in various locations. Many of these guys on this list, Manson would introduce me to. This next guy, James McElroy, he used to call me on the phone all the time, and I had no idea who James McElroy was. I had no idea who James McElroy was until after he died. James McElroy. On the inside, he was known as Jimmy Mack. And his most notable conviction was for his role in the murder of mob boss Paul Castellano. Yeah, he killed the head of the Gambino crime family. And this dude was calling me on the telephone, and I had no idea who he was. Yeah, it was on December the 16th, 1985. Castellano was gunned down outside a restaurant in Manhattan. McElroy and several other Westie members were believed to have carried out the hit on behalf of John Gardner, who wanted to seize control of the Gambino family. This was one of Manson's neighbors, and he actually liked Jimmy Mack. And like I said, I talked to Jimmy on the phone. Jimmy seemed like a decent guy. He had a really rich accent, but he seemed like a good dude. But you never know. Patrick Kearney, he was another one of Manson's neighbors, and he was known as the Freeway Killer. But don't get him confused with the others, because California's had 3 freeway killers. Kearney's crimes came to light when he confessed to the murder of 28 individuals, then making him one of California's most prolific serial killers in its history. This next guy on the list, Manson introduced me to him too. And I knew him for a long time as well, and I talked to him on occasion, and I wrote him on occasion. His name was Juan. In 1971, a series of brutal murders occurred in Yuba City, California. They soon became known as the Feather River Murders. The victims were primarily migrant workers who had been reported missing. The investigation into these crimes led the authorities to Juan Corona, a labor contractor who employed many of these victims. Suspicion fell on Corona due to his association with the victims, and he had a volatile behavior, they said. He was just a mean-ass guy. Soon obtained a search warrant for his residence and property, which led to a breakthrough in the case, because during the search they discovered a shallow grave containing the bodies of all of 25 victims. It was after the abduction of a school bus full of kids in Chowchilla, California. The children and the bus driver were transported to a remote quarry in Livermore, California, where they were confined in an underground bunker. Yeah. He kidnapped a school bus full of kids and then buried them underground. After he did that, Fred Woods, one of the kidnappers, then demanded a ransom of $5 million for their release. Well, the kids actually escaped that, but Fred didn't. He was neighbors with Charlie too. The next guy on the list, I met him too. It's another guy Manson introduced me to. Much debate and analysis. Some have questioned whether there were even factors or influences behind Sirhan's actions, including maybe psychological or political manipulation. But anyway, Sirhan was also one of Charlie Manson's neighbors. Amber Dubois, a 14-year-old girl from Escondido, California, went missing on February 13, 2009. Her disappearance received significant media attention and remained unsolved for a year until this guy on the list, John Gardner, was arrested for another crime. Yeah, of another girl he abducted, Chelsea King. He, this scumbag, was also one of Manson's neighbors. Okay, now talking about scum, the next guy on the list, Nick Cummings is the next guy on the list. He was in the unit with Manson too. Manson's the one that told me about this guy. He was first arrested in Northern California. At the time, he was serving as an attorney for NAMBLA, which is quite a creepy organization, by the way. It's one that advocates the decriminalization of relationship between adult men and underage boys. Manson would tell me that he assisted in having children transported from other countries to his clients. So those are a few of the people who are around Charles Manson on a daily basis. You can start at the top of the list with Tree Frog Johnson. And you can find every one of those crime stories and you can investigate them deeper. You can look into them all. But when you come to Nick Cummings, you won't find it anywhere. The title might have had you assuming or imagining that Manson was killing these people. That's how they do this stuff in this subject, you know. That's what I was saying at the very beginning. You gotta watch what the facts are. Because the facts are people were disappearing here, and I'm gonna get to that right now and tell you how. But again, the title might have made you think that somehow Manson was killing these people, or he was making them disappear. But now when we actually find out how these people vanished, you might now have wished he had killed them before they disappeared. Because, did you know, the state of California, the state of California, that wacky state that we live in, we have our own witness protection program. Yeah, we do. It's called CalRAP. That's a wrap, folks. You're gone. Called the California Witness Relocation and Assistance Program. CalRAP. The program is designed to provide protection and assistance to witnesses and their immediate families who face significant threats to their safety due to their cooperation with with law enforcement. And while you're in custody in this program, you're neighbors with Charlie Manson. Individuals typically needed to meet a certain criteria. And that criteria is basically ratting out on the people who you were committing the crimes with in the first place. So, if you want to give up information on all the people that you sold whatever you sold to and what they did with what, and then that can get you in the witness protection program. And you can just disappear forever. Nobody knows where you are. So, Manson does have some creepy neighbors. Oh yes, we've seen them. But he knew who his neighbors were at all given times. I don't know who my neighbors are. And I don't know if that guy who disappeared is now my neighbor. I don't. Because people disappear out of that place all the time and they're never seen again. Is that guy my neighbor now? I don't even know. Because they won't tell you. And some of these people, they commit way more heinous crimes than Manson could have ever committed. But yet they just disappear. Well, from California, in the state where you can just disappear. Until next time, peace.